Many years ago, when the world still relied on massive ocean liners to cross continents, a great passenger ship named the Horizon Star set sail across the Atlantic. It carried hundreds of civilians, families, tourists, workers, and dreamers, each with their own destination and their own story. Among them was a quiet 14-year-old Muslim boy named Ayan, traveling alone to reunite with his uncle in a distant land. Ayan was not like the other passengers. While children his age ran across the polished decks laughing and playing games, he spent most of his time near the railing, watching the endless stretch of blue water. His eyes were thoughtful, observant. He noticed things others didn't, the way the wind shifted before sunset, the subtle change in the smell of the sea, the nervous cry of distant birds. On the fourth evening of the voyage, the sky began to change. At first, it was only a faint gray band on the horizon. Most passengers didn't notice. The musicians still played cheerful tunes, couples danced, and waiters served sparkling drinks. But Ayan felt something heavy in the air, like the sea was holding its breath. He looked up and whispered softly, "Something is wrong." An old sailor standing nearby heard him and chuckled. "Storms happen, boy. The ocean likes to show its muscles sometimes." Ayan nodded politely, but his heart didn't settle. He had grown up in a coastal village where fishermen taught him how to read waves and clouds the way scholars read books. What he saw now was not an ordinary storm. Within an hour, the gray band had swollen into towering black clouds. The wind stiffened. The laughter on deck faded as passengers glanced uneasily at the sky. The captain ordered the musicians inside. Crew members began securing chairs and ropes. Then came the first thunderclap. It cracked across the sky like a cannon, so loud that several children screamed. Lightning split the clouds, revealing monstrous waves rising in the distance. Rain fell next thick, cold drops that turned into a violent downpour. The ship lurched as the sea transformed from gentle swells into raging mountains of water. Inside the control room, alarms began to beep. "This storm wasn't on the forecast," shouted an officer. The captain gripped the wheel. "Stabilize the heading. Keep her nose into the waves." But the ocean had other plans. The wind howled louder, shrieking like a wild animal. Waves slammed against the hull with explosive force. Plates shattered in the dining hall. Luggage tumbled across cabins. Panic spread like fire. Passengers rushed through corridors shouting for their families. Some prayed. Some cried. Some froze where they stood. Ayan held tightly to a railing, his clothes soaked, his hair plastered against his forehead. He stared into the storm and felt a deep certainty grow inside him. This wasn't just a storm. The sea ahead twisted strangely, spiraling inward like water draining from a giant invisible sink. Ayan's eyes widened. "A whirl vortex," he whispered. He had heard old fishermen speak of such things, rare, terrifying funnels in the ocean where currents collided and spun into a deadly spiral capable of swallowing ships whole. The crew hadn't seen it yet. Ayan ran. He sprinted down the slippery deck, dodging frightened passengers and sliding equipment. A crewman grabbed his arm. "Kid, you shouldn't be out here. There's a vortex ahead." Ayan shouted. "You have to turn the ship now." The man frowned. "What are you talking about?" Another lightning flash illuminated the sea ahead, and for a split second, the whirlpool was visible, a massive rotating pit of churning water pulling waves into its center. The crewman's face drained of color. "Captain," he yelled into his radio. But it was almost too late. The storm winds pushed the ship forward, straight toward the spinning maw. The engines roared as the captain tried to change course, but the currents were stronger than the propellers. Inside, people screamed as the ship tilted sharply. Furniture slid. Glass shattered. A child's cry echoed through the halls. Ayan felt fear rise in his chest, but he remembered something his mother once told him. When fear comes, courage is a choice. He closed his eyes for 1 second and whispered a prayer for guidance. When he opened them again, his fear had changed into determination. He ran toward the control room. A guard blocked the door. "Passengers aren't allowed in here. I know how to help." Ayan insisted. "Please, the currents are pulling you wrong." You must angle the ship across the spiral, not against it. The guard hesitated. Another violent jolt shook the floor. Inside the room, officers shouted in confusion. The guard made a split decision. He opened the door. Ion rushed in. The captain glanced down, surprised. Who let him? There. Ion pointed through the window. The spiral pulls strongest on its left side. Turn right first, then cut sharply across. If you fight it head-on, it will drag you under. The captain stared at the boy. Outside, lightning flashed again, revealing the swirling monster only a few hundred meters away. How do you know this? He demanded. I've seen smaller ones near my village, Ion said. Water always spins stronger on one side. You must cross its path, not resist it. Another officer shouted, Sir, we're losing steering control. The captain had seconds to decide. Trust a frightened crew or trust a soaked teenage boy. He took a breath. Helm, follow the boy's direction. Right rudder full. The ship groaned as it turned. Waves slammed against its side. For a terrifying moment, it seemed the vessel might tip over completely. Passengers clung to railings, crying out. The vortex roared closer, its spinning waters sucking foam and debris into its center. The noise sounded like a giant draining the ocean. Now cut across. Ion shouted. Hard left, ordered the captain. The engine strained. The ship shuddered violently as it skimmed the outer edge of the spiral. The deck tilted so steeply that people slid across it, grabbing anything they could. Then, a massive wave lifted the ship high, like a hand raising a toy. For one endless second, everything was silent except the wind. And then the ship dropped beyond the vortex's pull. The spinning waters roared past behind them. They were free. Inside the control room, no one spoke. The only sound was the fading howl of the storm. Slowly, the captain looked down at Ion. You just saved the ship, he said quietly. Outside, the storm began to weaken. The thunder drifted farther away. The monstrous waves softened into restless swells. Rain slowed to a gentle patter. Passengers peeked out from corridors, realizing the danger had passed. Murmurs spread as the crew explained what had happened. Eyes turned toward the small boy standing beside the captain. Some began to clap. Then more joined. Soon the entire ship echoed with applause. Ion blushed and lowered his gaze. I only shared what I knew, he said softly. But to the people around him, he was no ordinary boy anymore. He was the one who had seen what others missed. The one who stayed calm when fear ruled. The one whose courage guided a ship through death's doorway. Later that night, wrapped in a dry blanket, Ion stood alone on the quiet deck. The sky had cleared completely. Stars shimmered above the dark ocean, peaceful and endless. The captain approached and handed him a warm cup of tea. You have the eyes of a sailor, he said, and the heart of a leader. Ion smiled gently. My mother says wisdom belongs to anyone who listens carefully to nature, to people, and to God. The captain nodded thoughtfully. Today, hundreds of families will reach home because you listened. They stood in silence, watching the calm sea glide past. Far behind them, the storm faded into memory. But the story of the young boy who saved a ship full of strangers would travel much farther than any storm told in homes, in ports, in classrooms, and across generations. Because courage doesn't depend on age. Sometimes it stands quietly at the railing, watching the horizon.